Good evening. It's Friday, June 20th, the end of a long week, even factoring in the Juneteenth holiday. Welcome to the NCWLIFE Evening News. Grant Olson is away until Monday. I'm Jefferson Robbins. Here are a few of the stories we have coming up to help you wrap up your working week. The woman who's helped steer the city of Wenatchee through 2 mayoral administrations is preparing to leave that post. We'll tell you what comes next for Laura Gloria and the city she leaves behind. And a county tax authority spells out what that property assessment notice means for your home values and for your tax bill. From breezy to blustery, Friday's weather was heavy on the wind action. Some big gusts out of the northwest have helped to keep things cooler than usual for this part of June. Dan Kuntz, whom you might remember from your TV set this morning on Wake Up Wanachi Valley, will be along later on to bring you the full weather report. But now our top story tonight. The city of Wenatchee is losing its strong right arm. Our media partner, the Wanachi World, reports City Administrator Laura Gloria will resign from that position effective August 31st. Gloria has served under 2 mayors, first with Frank Kuntz when he brought her on board in 2020 as the city's Executive Services Director. The City Council unanimously approved code changes that made her the city administrator with broadened areas of responsibility in October 2023. Mayor Mike Poyer told the newspaper he'll be looking for a new administrator soon, taking feedback from his department heads and the community. He said Gloria herself will also be involved in the transition. The Pomas Fire has burned 910 acres, or thereabouts, in the Glacier Peak wilderness area, about 36 miles northwest of Entiat. The lightning-caused fire started on June 13th and is burning in steep terrain filled with dead timber. Observers say the remote fire has been driven by wind and low humidity. Crews are working to protect key infrastructure and assessing whether containment lines from past fires can be used to stall its progress. A temporary flight restriction is in place and several trails in public areas, including Myrtle Lake and Ice Lakes, are closed. Smoke has been visible from Holden Village, Lake Chalan, and the Chihuahua area, but no structures are threatened and no evacuations have been ordered. Pride Month continues all throughout June, and Wenatchee marks the occasion tomorrow in Memorial Park. Pride 2025 events go on Saturday from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. It's the 3rd Wenatchee LGBTQ+ Pride celebration since 2022, when the event returned after a hiatus during the COVID-19 pandemic. There are other Pride events that follow throughout the week, including a presentation on Tuesday of the celebrated 1990 documentary Paris is Burning, about the LGBTQ dance culture of New York. That's at 6:30 p.m. Tuesday at the Numerica Performing Arts Center. Thursday marked a big symbolic step for the Douglas County PUD's hydrogen fueling system. East Wenatchee's Town Toyota dealership became the first official customer of the PUD's hydrogen fuel station located at the utility headquarters on Valley Mall Parkway. The new hydrogen-powered Toyota Mirai is one of the dealership's courtesy cars. The PUD installed its fuel station last year to serve hydrogen vehicles as part of its push toward manufacturing and distributing the alternative fuel. The PUD says gassing up at the East Wenatchee hydrogen pump cost Town Toyota just $20 for 3/4 of a tank. Chalan County sends out notices of property values starting today. That's the document that tells landowners and homeowners the assessed value of their property. And from that assessment, taxes are levied. Chief Deputy Assessor Aaron Fonville explained to the Chalan County Connection podcast how property values are set.
For residential property, we actually use a cost approach to establish base construction value, and then we apply the sales approach to get to the market value. This process is called mass appraisal, which is different than fee appraisal that you would get when you buy your home. So instead of comparing like homes to each other and using that to set the market value, we're looking at how things sell within a whole neighborhood, which a neighborhood could be something as small as a couple streets, or it could be something as large as like the north end of Wenatchee, for example, like Sunny Slope area. And really, your assessed value is based off of what is currently existing on the property. So we have our appraisers that go out and physically inspect a quarter of the county every year. And they're looking for changes to the property, such as age, condition, quality, or if there's been any additions to the property. and they record all those on their iPad devices. They input the data, and then we are doing the analysis around them. There's a lot of information out there on our website that we've been presenting at our community meetings that we'll have available in the next couple of weeks. And also, there's a great new video that Department of Revenue created on understanding the property tax system in Washington State. It's a 3.5-minute video. We'll have links to that on our website within the next couple of weeks as well.
And when we come back, a state representative gets a look at the challenges facing local healthcare providers around his very rural district. And it's time to pick, grin, and sing along with the Wenatchee River Bluegrass Festival at the County Fairgrounds in Cashmere. I'm Jefferson Robbins, and you're watching the NCWLIFE Evening News.
There's no place like home, because home is where we're totally comfortable. It's where we can be ourselves and let our guards down. It's where we make memories, and we're always imagining new ways to keep it totally comfortable. Carrier, total comfort, totally happy.
Call Alpine Air Heating and Cooling today. Your comfort is their priority.
Welcome to the summer of good. Good people, good taste, good vibes, and good, well, everything. When you're ready for some old-fashioned good, Abby's is your place. We've been celebrating summers around the P&W for over 60 years. At Abby's, good is a legendary tradition. Here's a good-looking pizza, guaranteed to bring some summer smiles. And right now, it's on sale, so it's good for your wallet too. This giant is loaded with toppings and can feed up to 6 people. Order at abbys.com. Give us a call or just drop by. It's the summer of good, only at Abby's Legendary Pizza.
Between juggling groceries, preparing meals, and lending a helping hand, you're a hero without a cape. But who's there to support you? Aging and Adult Care honors caregivers like you, the relatives, friends, and neighbors, helping loved ones remain safely at home. Aging and Adult Care offers chore services, respite, personal care, and more. Serving Chalan, Douglas, Grant, Lincoln, Adams, and Okanagan counties, call Aging and Adult Care at 1-800-572-4459 for caregiver support.
Welcome back to the NCWLIFE Evening News. Last week, State Representative Andrew Engel, representing District 7, visited and toured hospitals in Chelan and Okanagan counties to learn more about the challenges faced by rural healthcare providers. His route included Mid-Valley Hospital in Omak, North Valley Hospital in Tonasket, Three Rivers Hospital in Brewster, and Confluence Health Hospital in Wenatchee. Throughout the tours, Engel says he heard constantly from hospital leadership about how they're struggling under the weight of government regulations and inadequate payment for services from government payers. Potential cuts to Medicaid are also a cause for concern for rural healthcare providers, as reductions in payments will make it more difficult for them to stay in business and serve their communities. Washington's Department of Ecology has placed a 6-month pause on putting parts of the state's clean vehicle standards in place. Ecology Director Casey Sexkiller told vehicle manufacturers the decision is a response to efforts by Congress and President Trump to overturn stricter vehicle emission standards adopted by Washington, California, and 17 other states. Washington's law requires automakers to increase their sales of zero-emission vehicles, but that requirement will now be set aside until December. Sexkiller says the federal action introduces uncertainty for states, manufacturers, and consumers, and could set back the drive to reach net zero gas emissions by 2050. A portion of First Creek Road in Chelan will close on Monday for construction. The closure extends from First Creek Road's intersection with Navarre Coulee Road to about milepost 1. Chalan County Public Works said crews will be reinstalling a culvert in the area. The closure is 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. and will impact residents who live near the south shore of Lake Chelan. The 2025 Wanachi River Bluegrass Festival is underway at the Chalan County Expo Center. The fest has been setting up camp for 2 decades at the Cashmere location. Concerts and workshops carry on through Sunday, with headliners including the Slocan Ramblers. Festival co-founder Chuck Egner told NCWLIFE's Dan Kuntz, the Ramblers are just a taste of the all-American music you'll hear if you drop on by.
Great band, high energy, and a contrast to that's going to be John Reichman's band. Fabulous musicians. They're not the rah-rah, jump after it band, but they are technically gigantically proficient. John is one of the top, 2 or 3 mandolin players on the planet. And most mandolin players agree that his mandolin, his Lloyd Loar 1924 mandolin, is one of the best, if not the best, in the world. David Grisman's got one also, and those two are kind of vying for which one's the best. But John knows what he's doing with it. He's got a great lineup around him. And then the Downriver Collective, coming from Nashville, great authentic Southern band is what they are.
Well, coming up next, you don't have to feel helpless in the face of wildfire threat. The Wenatchee Valley Fire Department is available to show you how you can minimize the risks to your home when flames appear on the horizon. Today's winds might give way to some cloudy and cool conditions with a chance of rain over the weekend. I've just gotten word that Dan Kuntz is still somehow upright on a Friday evening, which means he'll be along with your full local weather forecast. That plus Eric Granstrom with an all-encompassing sports report still to come tonight. Please stay with us.
The joys of sitting in traffic, burning gas, donating your paycheck to parking enforcement. Or you could join us this June for Ride Transit Month. On Link, you ride for free, anytime, anywhere. Plus, Link's electric buses run on clean local hydropower. Thanks, Columbia River. So while you're saving some cash, you're also saving the planet. So hop on board Link for Ride Transit Month. Stress-free, wallet-friendly, eco-smart.
Central Washington Water understands the power of healing waters. If part of your wellness routine includes hot heat from a sauna, Central Washington Water now carries indoor and outdoor infrared and hot rock saunas by Tilo. Research shows there are many health benefits to a cold plunge after a good workout or relaxing time in your sauna. Harness the power of water in a hot spring spa, plug-and-play spas, a Tilo sauna, or a cold plunge tub. Stop by Central Washington Water, your wellness experts.
The pitch by Busich.
The Wenatchee Apple Sox are back on the NCWLIFE channel. Watch as they take on the Victoria Harbor Cats on Friday, June 27th. Coverage brought to you by our Platinum supporter, Alpine Air Heating and Cooling. Also by Abby's Pizza, Apple Valley Honda, Biosports Physical Therapy, Coldwell Banker Cascade Real Estate, Global Car Care, Harvest Valley Pest Control, and Highlander Golf Course and Grill. Your exclusive television home for Apple Sox baseball is the NCWLIFE channel.
Welcome back to the NCWLIFE Evening News. It's wildfire season in north central Washington, and the Wenatchee Valley Fire Department has resources to help get your home wildfire ready. Earlier this week, Wenatchee Valley Fire Chief Brian Brett and Wildfire Community Liaison Hillary Hurd spoke with NCWLIFE about the expectations for wildfire season and how people can remain aware of the risks. Their department offers home assessments to anyone asking for one to learn how they can best prepare their homes against the danger.
The Wildfire Ready Neighbors is a program from Washington State Department of Natural Resources to, it's a social media campaign to heighten people's awareness of becoming prepared for a wildfire risk. And they do it in partnerships with local fire districts such as ourselves, and giving people tools for being better prepared for wildfire. You can call in, request an assessment on your own property. Home assessments take about an hour. Myself or my team come out, and we're trained in home ignition zone safety. So we look, we walk around the property with the homeowner. It takes about an hour. We look in different zones around the house. So the 0 to 5 foot zone, you want to make sure that you have good defensibility, not a lot of trees or shrubs up against your house. And then we back it out from 5 to 30 feet. And then if appropriate, then we'll go out from 30 to 100 feet. We have a fire adapted plant guide. Think about not planting arborvitae, that's very fire prone. So things of that nature. It can be the simple stuff, you know, making sure you clean out your gutters so there's no debris in there, because embers from a fire can travel up to 5 miles, and they will find very small areas to collect. When we had the Red Apple fire, we noticed that some garage doors didn't have a good seal on them. So when homeowners came back from being evacuated, there was embers extinguished on their garage floor. So things like that, being aware of, and that we're, you know, the wildfires are mainly wind driven here, but it's not necessarily the flame front that you might see as you do in films and things like that. It's mainly, it's the ember cast from those fires that are going to be coming close to the home. So thinking about using rock in the 5-foot area instead of bark mulch, or using very minimal amounts of bark mulch, keeping areas well irrigated. So people don't have to live with a concrete bunker around their house with absolutely no vegetation. You can have very attractive vegetation and landscaping, and also improve the defensibleness of your home, and that can save your structure up to 80 to 90% if a fire does come, and that's a really easy task to do.
When we get dispatched to a wildfire, we know it's going to spread rapidly. In this topography, in these fuels, and the winds we have, our rate of spread is enormous. So as soon as we get the call, we send everything we have immediately, and we make resource orders from our cooperators, the Forest Service, Department of Natural Resources, Bureau of Land Management, our neighboring departments. We get everything we can immediately. Our goal is to try and stop this thing in its tracks as fast as possible to minimize damage, protect lives, infrastructure, and personal property. And we just need the community's support in that. When they do get the notifications for evacuations, we're not trying to inconvenience them. We literally plan this out in the various evacuation levels to minimize displacement, but we do need the room to work safely and effectively for us.
We live in an area that's prone to wildfires, so it's just one more thing to need to be prepared about, as in if people lived in other areas where there were hurricanes or tornadoes or floods. So it's just something to take into consideration to protect yourselves and your homes. We live in an incredible area in north central Washington, and we want to do our best to help you become more fire adapted so you can be ready for when a wildfire event occurs.
Happy Friday, everybody. Happy first day of summer, almost 7:42 tonight. Of course, it's a summer equinox, and then starting tomorrow, starting Saturday, the first full day of summer will be 1 second shorter than today. For you folks who are heading up to the high country, and I mean the high country, 5,000 feet or above, a lot of people like to do that this time of the year to celebrate the summer equinox. First of all, good luck, because it's going to be cold, and you can even see, believe it or not, on the first day of summer, snow. Snow level is going to be down there. It could be about 5,000 feet. If you're above 5,000 feet, you can get snowed on. So have fun and don't get hypothermia on the first day of summer. Go at it. Yes, today unofficially 70. That's about 10 degrees below normal for this time of the year. It's hard to believe for these long days. We only got to 70. That's kind of crazy. But look at the overnight low, 59. It was very mild because we did have the clouds come in overnight tonight as the system begins to move in, kind of barreling in really. And that kept the overnight low pretty mild because, of course, we had the blanket on. And there you go. Long day, 5:04. It was sunrise this morning, 9:01. Sunset tonight. And the days will gradually, and I mean gradually, get just a little bit shorter. All right, let's get right down to business. What do we have for you tomorrow for your afternoon highs? Not much. Wenatchee is, in fact, going to be the warm spot. Moses Lake, you're going to have more clouds than Wenatchee. Everybody's going to have significant cloud cover. Not a lot of sunshine tomorrow, but Moses Lake and Omak, you're going to have more clouds than the Wenatchee Valley. They're going to be thicker, and they're also going to give you a better chance of rain. Both Moses Lake and up in Omak, you have a higher chance of rain on Saturday than us here in the Wenatchee Valley. We have about a 50% chance of rain. Nobody's going to have any deluge of rain. It's not going to come down like buckets. Don't build an ark, but we need some rain, and we're going to get a little bit of it, it looks like, especially on Saturday afternoon. So, yeah, there's the weather maker. It's coming in right now. It's coming in and whoop, working right its way in to our neck of the woods, and that's why we had wind all day today. It's going to be windy all night tonight. There's going to be no respite from the wind, a good solid 20 miles an hour. We could see gusts at 50 miles an hour all the way through to early Saturday morning. And Saturday, we bottom out. 67, that's all we're going to see. No sunshine, but at least we won't have any wind, and about a 50% chance of rain on Saturday as the system really comes through. And yeah, that's what I'm talking about up in Omak area there. You're going to get some more rain. You have about a 70% chance of rain tomorrow for Omak and up near the Canadian border. We dry out a little bit on Sunday. Going to see some afternoon sun breaks as the low begins to move on over to the Idaho Panhandle and far western Montana, and then we start transitioning back. Big ridge of high pressure right out there. It's going to be stable. It's not going to move anywhere. It's just going to kind of float around, but as it amplifies amplifies and we have these long days and the sun high in the sky, even though we're out on the very cusp of that ridge of high pressure, it's enough to cook us right back up again. Look at that, 89 on Tuesday. We'll be into the 90s. By the time we get to Wednesday. Again, although that high pressure ridge is going to be fairly stable, it's going to shift around a little bit. It's not going to move over our area, which would give us some really hot weather, but it's going to be plenty warm for most folks. We'll be back up to 92 by the time we get to Wednesday. So again, very cool and windy and wet Friday. Not so much on Saturday. We're going to be cool. Could see a little bit of rain on Saturday, but at least we don't have to deal with the wind, and we had a lot of wind today. And by the time we get to Thursday, we'll temper out at about 88 degrees. So kind of a strange start to the first full weekend of summer, wouldn't you say, with all that cloudy and cool weather we've been having, and of course the wind, which doesn't seem to be abating, but it will by the time we get to Saturday afternoon. So here we go, 70, that's it. 51 for the overnight low, wind all day, wind for the rest of the day anyway, wind tonight. The wind will not be diminishing until we get to about mid-morning on Saturday. So we ditch the wind and we replace that with some rain, lots of clouds, and very cool. We'll be about 12 to 13 degrees below normal on Saturday. We transition on Saturday afternoon into Sunday afternoon. Things will kind of dry out a little bit. Not a lot of wind again on Saturday afternoon and Sunday. And then here comes some warm weather as we say, getting ready to say goodbye to June and welcome July. It's not that far away. That's your weather forecast, but there's still more to go. You're watching a Friday edition of the NCWLIFE Evening News.
Happy finally Friday. The Mariners begin a 14-game road trip today in Chicago. They've made some moves on the roster. Rowdy Tellez has been designated for assignment, which means he's basically released to make room on the roster for Luke Raley. Raley's been out since mid-April with an oblique strain and was expected to rejoin the team this weekend, with Raley returning and left the Mariners with 3 first basemen. They don't need that. Donovan Solano has been hitting better than Tellez lately, so the move was made. Meanwhile, the man who makes those moves for Seattle was earlier this week on with the MLB Network. President of Baseball Operations Jerry DiPoto says Bryce Miller has gone back on the IL with elbow issues, and it's a wait-and-see scenario.
4 to 6 weeks until we really have a good gauge on that. And we're hoping that he's responsive to the treatments this time. Obviously last time it didn't go great. And, we really just want to do the right thing by Bryce. We've done a very good job, I think, as an organization of maintaining pitcher health over the years. And then this year it's all coming back on us. And the priority is just making sure that these guys are healthy for the long haul.
Julio Rodriguez has cut down on strikeouts this season, but has suffered in his power numbers. DiPoto says at 24 years of age, Julio's still trying to find himself.
Part of it is just the evolution of Julio. He wants to be a complete hitter. And every year he tries to pick up something new that he hadn't done before. He's playing his 24-year-old season. I said this before, our expectations of Julio are sky high for a reason. He's got amazing tools. He's a hard worker. He shows up. He does big things. I think as we enter this season, into his 24-year-old season, he's one of the 10 highest WAR players among center fielders in history through the age of 24. And he's trying to figure out who he is. He doesn't want to just be a power hitter. He wants to be a better hitter. He wants to reduce the strikeouts. I think periodically through this season, we've seen higher walk rates, then, lower. But one thing that's been pretty standard with Julio, July, August, and September are the months where he really rolls, and that's when you see the power. And I think we'll see it again. He's on pace for a 30-homer 5.5 win season. So it's tough to complain about what he's not doing. And you just really look forward to what the end product looks like for him.
Seattle sits in second place in the American League West behind Houston as they hit the most grueling stretch of a 17 games and 17 days stretch. DePoto says Mariners are still trying to find their own identity.
You know, we've had really two extreme portions of our season. For about 6 weeks, we were really scoring runs like we've not before, at least in my time with the Mariners. And we were up and down 1 through 9 in the lineup, really productive. But historically, we rely on our pitching, and that's who we are. I think that's our personality. Our identity is pick up the ground balls, be accurate with our throws, don't make mistakes that beat you, and your pitching drowns your opponent. And you know, tonight starts that over with Logan back in the mix, and hopefully we are on track to start doing the things that we do. You know, the atypical part of our season so far has been that we've not been driven by our pitching. So, you know, I think as we get into this stretch between, you know, today and the trade deadline, it's establishing what we do as a pitching staff, being a little more Mariner-like in what we're doing there. And I think our offense has really improved, and we'll get into the next hot streak as we come, you know, through out of a good weekend for our offensive club, and really a good 10 days for our hitters. We have to be better at converting runs, which is about being consistent. And that's a personality trait that every team would like to have.
Seattle takes his 37-36 record into Chicago to play the very good Cubs in the first of 3 games over the weekend. All the game times, by the way, early in the day. They start at 11:20 our time. Well, the Mariners begin the weekend 5 games behind Houston in the AL West. The Astros fell to the Athletics in 10 innings last night, 6-4. Yankees salvaged the final game of their 4-game series with the Angels winning 7-3. Kansas City topped Texas 4-1. The Wenatchee Apple Sox begin a weekend series in Edmonton against the Riverhawks tonight. Wenatchee has an 11-4 record and is coming off a non-league split with the Dub C Fish Sticks. Edmonton fresh off a 1-2 series against Bellingham. Tonight's game gets underway at 7:05. You can hear it locally on Sunny FM. The Bells won the final game of that series in Edmonton last night, 7-zip. 3 Bellingham pitchers combined on the 8-hit shutout. Tanner Beltkowski was 3 for 4 with 3 runs and a solo home run in Victoria's 10-3 win over Nanaimo. Owen Esterbrook's 2-run home run highlighted a 5-run first inning for Walla Walla. The Sweets beat Kamloops 15-8. It was closer this time, but Portland still beat Yakima Valley 6-4. Tony Otis's 2-run double highlighted a 5-run 5th inning for the Pickles as Portland improved to 17-1. Corvallis improved to the 500 mark on the season with a 3-2 win at Cowlitz. Gavin Brubaker's RBI single in the top of the 8th gave the Knights the win. Springfield brought 14 men to the plate in a 9-run second inning to beat Bend 15-7. Cooper Mullins had a day, going 5 for 6 with 3 runs and 2 RBI. Noah Carlino's 3-run home run in the top of the 6th inning was the difference for Ridgefield as the Raptors beat the Marion Berries 3-2. Heading into the weekend, Wenatchee and Bellingham remain in a virtual tie atop the West Coast League's North Division standings. Kamloops and Victoria are next at 10-8 records. Edmonton is 8-7, 3.5 games out of first place. Well, high-flying jumps and extreme motocross action is combined with 4-wheeled racing Saturday at Wenatchee Valley's Super Oval. It's the Freestyle Motocross and Porta Potty 100 tomorrow. Besides the Freestyle Motocross, racing will include the Jerry's Auto Supply Pro Late models, Dick's Heating and Air Conditioning Thunder Cars, Knutson General Contracting Bandoleros, and the Zero Handicap Mini Bombers. Gates open at 4:30. Racing starts at 6. You can go to WVSO.com for tickets and more information. That's Look at Sports News. I'm Eric Granstrom. Have a great weekend.
On a special closing note from us, our thoughts tonight are with the survivors of Peyton, Olivia, and Evelyn Decker, 3 Wenatchee girls who were taken from their family and loved ones far too soon. We'll have full coverage of their memorial service scheduled for tonight at Rocky Reach Dam, available on our website, NCWLIFE.com. You can also view that on our social media channels or on our mobile app for iPhone and Android. You can reach us anytime at news@ncwlife.com or call 888-NCWL, that's 888-6295. I'm Jefferson Robbins. Grant Olson will be back next week. Until then, peace to all of you, and let's be kind as we can to one another.